As we had to go get a mother and bring her to the hospital today, and I was talking to her, the first words out of her mouth were, "I'm angry about all this violence in this city."
Two Kansas City police officers shot in the line of duty only a few hours apart today. Tonight, one's recovering at home after being shot near Independence Avenue. The other is fighting for his life after being shot in the head near 31st and Van Brunt. We've just learned the officer is out of surgery and is stable. KCTV5 has team coverage right now. BETSY WEBSTER is at Truman Medical Center where the officer needed emergency surgery. But we begin now with Emily Rittman, who's live from the scene near 31st and Van Brunt. Emily, explain what happened.
Well, Ellen, for hours, officers had the intersection here near 31st and Van Brunt shut down as they continued to search for any possible suspects. Just after 9 o'clock tonight, the crime scene tape came down, and it seems that search came to an end. This all began when someone called 911 to report a man waving a gun outside of this McDonald's. An armored truck and dozens of investigators swarmed the area.
I heard several gunshots, then police cars started coming, more gunshots.
James Boyd was across the street at a bus stop when he spotted the suspect holding a gun outside the McDonald's.
Yelling, screaming about something, this and that, whatever. I got a 9.
Yelling he was Jesus and waving around a gun.
Next thing you know, I hear shots fired, then police go lower come flying in through here.
The suspect ran from 2 police officers. They ran after him.
The suspect turned around and fired shots towards the officer, striking one Kansas City police officer.
The officer who was shot in the head has been a Kansas City, Missouri police officer for 2.5 years. Another officer shot and killed the suspect.
I mean, my heart goes out to the officer. Something's got to give. This stuff has got to stop.
It shouldn't happen, but it does. The only thing I can say is, may God be with you.
These officers responded with courage and valor. We want to make sure that the community knows that you know, we're doing this for them. You know, this is why we do this, to keep our communities safe, to keep people like this from hurting somebody else.
And after 9 o'clock tonight, the KCFOP shared a post online saying that the officer and his family are being surrounded by fellow officers trying to support them during this time. Reporting live, Emily Rittman, KCTV5 News.
Yeah, so many are thinking of him right now. Emily, thank you. A second police officer is out of the hospital after being shot by a man on a bus. The driver was also shot, but is expected to be okay. She called police when she saw a robbery. Then, when the suspect boarded her bus, she drove slowly until police could catch up. Shots rang out when police tried to board that bus. The suspect was shot by another officer and is expected to survive. Mayor Quinton Lucas reacted to the shootings on Twitter. Quote, "The women and men of our department are dedicated to this city, always have been, always will be. We owe them our prayers tonight and our thanks and our resolve, all of us, to call out those who are terrorizing so many in our community." It certainly has been an emotional day for law enforcement, and tonight Chief Rick Smith talked about that, choking up at times. KCTV5's BETSY WEBSTER is live at Truman Medical Center where the police officer is surrounded by family. BETSY.
Well, that update on the officer's condition that came to us at 9:50 is that he was out of surgery, stable, and now moved to the ICU. When that update came to us, we saw a slew of officers in and out of uniform just pouring out of the ER there behind me. You can see there are still quite a few officers there, but there were even more before we got this announcement. The chief says the officer has been with the department for 2.5 years. He was shot in the head. Someone asked the chief if he had a message for his officers, and he had to take a deep breath to compose himself.
It's very difficult to talk to the officers right now. I guess I'd say to them that the mission hasn't changed, that our dedication to this city and to the people in this city hasn't changed. And more now than ever, they're probably needed, and they're needed for all of us.
Officers stood outside Truman Med Center's ER, many more of them inside. The officer's police family consoling his biological family. The chief made the first call to the officer's mother.
The first words out of her mouth were, "I'm angry about all this violence in this city." I hope, I plead that everyone hears those words and we work 10 times harder than we're working today on violence in this city.
He's talking not just about the violence involving police, but all the violence. The 90-plus homicides they've responded to this year. The 300-plus people who've been shot this year and survived.
The men and women of this police department are totally committed to the safety of this city. And if today doesn't demonstrate that to everyone in this city, they need to take a look at what our actions are and what we're trying to do to help other people. Other people called us. We didn't start this, we didn't initiate it. Other people called for our help and we responded.
That officer's condition is still considered critical because of the severity of the gunshot wound. But again, getting out of surgery stable is a very good sign. The chief did not give us that officer's age, but when someone asked him, what are the officers saying there in the hospital? He said it's the kind of things you might expect. They're asking why and saying he's a good kid. Live in Kansas City, Missouri, Betsy Webster, KCPD 5 News.
All right, keep us updated, Betsy. Thanks so much. And tonight, other departments are stepping up to help the KCPD. The Gladstone PD, Clay County Sheriff, and Riverside PD are patrolling in KC and responding to calls for help.